everybody. Episode 3. The third episode. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Yeah, it was really good up until I found out I had to make a correction because I love being wrong. So I found out last week I said that LSU Miami was in Baton Rouge. To make matters worse, it's not only is it not in Baton Rouge, it's in Dallas. So
You're way off.
Well, I also live in Dallas, so you would think I would know that one. But luckily it shows that we had at least one listener because one of my coworkers actually emailed me about it. So I was like, well, thanks for listening.
Yeah, that's a positive. At least that's what we need. People making corrections. That's okay.
It's a Sunday night game, right?
Yes. Don't put me on the spot again. God.
Well, while we're
just
here
trying to trip me up.
While we're here on the game, let's just real quick pick who's going to win.
Miami.
Who are you going with?
I'm going with Miami.
Well, just because y'all going Miami, I'm going LSU.
But I think it's just a 3-point spread or something like that. So it's a...
Yeah, well, I picked LSU to beat Alabama this year, Miami to win the ACC, so I already kind of screwed myself out of the gate. So
yeah.
All right. So fixed my one correction. That's like my one correction for the year, probably. What is there anything over the last week y'all wanted to bring up before we kind of got into things?
I mean, you talk about sports. We talk about
anything.
What we talk about.
Well, we struggled a little today to getting tickets to
Dude, why are you bringing
the
that
Steamboat
up?
Music Fest.
Right before the show, I told you how upset I was about this, and then you bring it up.
We're supposed to be having a good show, and then you go and do that, and you bring that up, and now he's going to think about that the whole time.
I just gotten over the fact that we missed out on Music Fest tickets in Steamboat, and now we're on the wait list. And we had to call. How long did we call today? We called for like 4 hours, maybe even longer.
I called from 10 to like 3.
Because
10 in the morning.
Because Dixon Productions stuck in the 80s, and you got a call every 2 seconds. Yeah. But yeah, see, don't get me on that. That'll piss me off.
Sorry about that.
Didn't you see so it's kind of like our Fuddruckers update. You said you saw the Undertaker there. Is that true, or was that a fake news story?
No, it's true. He comes there
it's kind of like he saw Sergio there too. I'm sure he saw.
Oh yeah, you saw Sergio Garcia there too. This Fuddruckers is like a Hollywood Fuddruckers.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
I did see Sergio. I told him congratulations, and that's when that tournament where he scored on.
He got like a 15 on one hole or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about when he hit shot. Yeah, it was like reminded that movie. What's that movie? Tin Cup.
Yeah, another one. Give me another one.
Yeah, he's like, give me another one. He's like, oh, that cat. He's like, no.
So did you give him some swing tips? Was that what happened?
No, all I said was congratulations on the last Masters win.
And then he went and did bad.
Yeah,
dude,
exactly.
He probably remembers you, and he's like, I cannot see that guy again.
But the Undertaker, yeah, he was there.
Undertaker was at Angels, and my wife Erin, I legitimately asked her, I said, hey, do you think it'd be okay if I walk up to him and let him do a tombstone to me on an Angels table? She's like, nah. But he is a big dude. He's like 7, huge.
Yeah.
In person.
There's no way that they would let you do that. So you didn't talk to him. You didn't talk to him at all at Fuddruckers, Dad?
No, I was a little nervous to talk to him, so I just let him go. He was with his daughter, so I didn't want to bother him.
He's intimidating, man.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I did over the weekend besides work on my freaking bathroom. Another thing that's a touchy subject for me, but I got to go to the Star. Have you heard of the Star in Frisco?
Yeah, where the Cowboys practice.
Yeah, we went there, and my wife's parents bought us dinner, and it was super nice. So Jerry Jones can't put the football team together, but he can build some structures. I'll tell you that. It was really cool. And we went to a restaurant called Neighborhood Services. So if you ever go to Neighborhood Services at the Star, tell them MacesLoaded sent you.
Why are you laughing? He's trying to promote us right now, and you're laughing.
No, right. I was gonna say if you do actually do that, they'll be really confused because they'll have no idea what the f you're talking about. But just do it anyway.
Do it anyways, yeah. I don't like you laughing on that, man. We're trying to promote here.
Well, I got two. Speaking of that, on YouTube, I got 2 more subscribers at the Fuddruckers. I made the bartenders subscribe, so that's a good thing. So
yeah.
We need to get.
That's a good point. If you are watching this right now in the future, just click that subscribe button. It's really easy.
It's a little bell. There's a little bell too there.
Well,
right?
there's the bell. So there's the bell, and then there's the actual subscribe button. I think the subscribe button you subscribe. The bell is if you want notifications.
Damn, I don't know if I want our notifications.
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
All right, let's go on. Let's get into it. What are we drinking today? Mace the 4th. What do you have?
Okay, I came prepared this time because I've always been in trouble not showing up prepared. So I am going with, it's called Kung Fu Robot IPA.
Kung Fu Robot IPA. I like the can.
Yeah. So it's actually brewed in Austin, Texas, and I even got the address for you to make it even more. So it's 10615 Metric Boulevard, Austin, Texas. It's like I said, IPA, so it's an Indian Pale Ale. It's going to have a lot more hops to it. Some people like the hops, some people don't. It's a little sweeter though for an IPA. Sometimes.
Do you know why it's called an IPA?
All right,
or an Indian Pale Ale?
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Way back in the day, right? They had to like travel with beer or something, right? And that's the way they kept them like preserved. Or is that totally wrong? Someone probably told me that and made me look like an idiot, and I told it to everybody else, and now I look like an idiot probably. But that's okay.
From what I understand, it's because they had there's a bunch more hops. You're right, because they would sail it to or from India, and that's how they would keep it preserved.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I've been told. Good. I'm glad.
What he said.
Yeah, what he said. It sounds more like educational when he says it than when I say it. So.
All right, Mace the 3rd. What do you got?
Okay, I've got what they call the Bitchin' Camaro.
Is that a 40?
Can you see it?
Is that a 40?
Is that
Yeah,
a 40?
that's a 40.
You're not drinking a 40.
I'm drinking a 40. It's called Bitchin' Camaro. This thing is supercharged with hops. It's a amber ale supercharged like a Bitchin' Camaro with hops. And it's actually pretty good. It's not too strong, you know. It's 6% alcohol per volume, and it's out of Blanco, Texas, so it's local. It's a local
so
beer.
If it's 6%,
it's also a limited. It's a limited release. So,
but that
means it's not malt liquor. That's not a 40.
Oh no, it's not a 40.
I was kidding. This looks like a 40. I was kidding. It is definitely not a 40, but I think it's brewed. I know I'm pretty sure, but so if you ever had Fireman's 4. Same.
Real Ale Brewing Company.
So it's
Everybody knows that one.
That's an Austin brewery too, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's in Blanco.
But
Blanco, it's right outside Austin, right?
But yeah. But.
All right. I have got a local beer here in. I live in Richardson. I call it Dallas, but this is actually a brewing company in Plano, and it's called Rebel Faction. If you can see, it's got a cool little can there with the snake and the hand.
Yeah, it is cool.
And it is a farmhouse ale, 7% alcohol by volume, and it's brewed by Unlawful Assembly in Plano. And it's actually, I think they have a brewery in what's called Legacy West. So if you're ever in Dallas, Legacy West is a hot new place to go. It's a pretty cool area, so I would check that out.
Cool.
And it's good. I liked it. I had my first one. I always do it the night before because if I don't like it, I won't put it on there. But
did you say it's a pale or what is it? What did you say it was again?
It's a farmhouse ale. So I don't really.
Okay.
Do you know what that means? Is that just it tastes just like a pale ale?
Yeah. So what they do is they actually brew it in a farm.
No,
so
that's not what it means.
Well,
sounds right.
Actually, I don't know. Maybe that is true. I don't know.
Well, why would they call it farmhouse ale?
You're trying to get me on another correction right now, and I don't like it. All right, so we got our beers, and whatever Dad's drinking, a malt beer or whatever that was. So let's a bitchin' Camaro. Do they have a bitchin' like Corvette and all that too, or is it just the Camaro?
Maybe I don't know.
You might have created another beer right there.
All right, well, let's get into it. We've got next. I wanted to bring up something kind of touchy. right now, but the Urban Meyer decision that came down last week. So just so everybody knows, and I'm sure you've caught up by now, but Urban Meyer was suspended 3 games for his involvement in what was his coach's name? Zach Smith. Is that right?
Yeah, Zach Smith, wide receivers coach.
Yeah, his alleged domestic violence case, how he handled that case. So he got a 3-game suspension. I think the AD got a month-long suspension, so he's out until the end of September, I believe. So I guess just initial thoughts. I'll start with, it sounds like Mace the Fourth, you're ready to talk on this one, so I'll start with you. What are your initial thoughts on the 3-game suspension?
Well, I know we've been going back and forth a little bit on it. I don't know how to even approach this really, because I'm against everything that happened. But I will say, I don't like how, if you watch the first interview with Urban Meyer, you kind of look at it as, man, this guy doesn't seem like he has any remorse of what happened.
What interview are you talking about? Are you talking about
the first one? So the meeting when they got together, right? When he got called to. So there's an interview, or not interview, press conference.
Are you talking about the SEC Media Day, that one?
No. After this, when they brought him together to decide what his penalty was going to be.
Oh, yes, okay.
After his penalty.
Yeah, after that. But, you just watch him and you kind of see like, man, this guy, I don't think he realizes what went down or what he did wrong or, the whole thing that was happening. You just kind of look at it and be like, you didn't even bring up the point that you didn't even apologize to the
individual, Courtney Smith.
Courtney Smith. You didn't do that till the next time on a Friday when no one's paying attention. And then it looks like it's written by someone else. Long story short, I think the suspension to me should have been a little bit longer. I don't like the fact that he's still capable of being able to coach the team during those weeks. He just can't go to the games, is what my understanding is. So,
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah,
he can coach them during the week?
So, from my understanding, and if anybody on this podcast is listening and it's totally wrong, my apologies, but the last thing I've seen was he's still capable of coaching the team
at practice.
Now, that could have changed. That could have been totally different. I don't know, but that's the last thing I heard. Like I said, it is a touchy subject. I don't think there was enough done on the situation, in my point of view. I don't think it's going to hurt Ohio State in the long run with recruiting. I think.
That's what I was going to ask.
I think though, if I'm, Urban Meyer's image is definitely tarnished. I can tell you that much. I don't know how do you go to someone like, well, are you speaking the truth now? Like when you're saying things about this. Here's the thing, Miles. If anything else comes up during the year, if anything comes up with anything else, how stupid is Ohio State going to look on this whole matter?
Yeah. I mean, they have zero room for error now.
That's what I'm saying. Now you put yourself in a situation, if anything else comes up, you look absolutely stupid and just totally disregard of anything that happened. So, I don't know. That was my thoughts on it.
All right. And before Mace the Third, before you go, it says here that Meyer will be fully suspended through the Oregon State game, meaning he will not allowed to attend practices or have contact with the team. After that, he will be able to direct practice during the week. So, it looks like he's fully suspended for one of those weeks, but then the next 2 he can.
So he can still coach for the TCU. That's what I'm saying though. To me, it should be. No contact till after everything. I don't think he should be a part of it till after those 3 games. To me, it could have been more, but I don't think he should have any contact with the practice at all. But he asked me a question about if it's going to hurt recruiting. I don't know. If you're a player at a high school and Ohio State's, how many NFL players do they have in Ohio State now playing? A lot. So I don't know if it's necessarily going to hurt recruiting. Because of the fact that you're going to a Big Ten program that's going to be putting you and developing you into the NFL. Now, that being said, I think Urban Meyer is going to – they're going to have to figure something out because I think his legacy is a little tarnished, obviously, when it comes into going to someone's house and saying, well, how do I trust you on, all this stuff that all this has been brought up I think his spills is going to have to be a little bit different on the recruiting course. But again, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't. My thoughts of Urban Meyer have definitely flipped. I don't. The guys is to me is like, well, now you're just one of those guys who's kind of.
Well, he already had a kind of an iffy reputation.
Well, yeah, he's like a Nick Saban, right? He's like
no,
a Nick Saban.
he was worse than Nick Saban. I mean, you look at that Florida team. It had a lot of bad actors on that Florida team, on those Florida teams.
No, I was just saying, like when you talk to Nick Saban, both of them to the media are very shut off guys, right? Now you look even worse as being who you are and what you did. It just doesn't look good, but that's my thoughts on it. So,
all right, Mace III, anything to add?
Well, the investigation, I think, was more. Obviously, they wanted to keep him. His record, what he's brought to them financially, it was more of an investigation on, hey, how do we keep him? I think it was. You're always going to protect. You're always going to protect the ones that help you out financially, or you know what I'm saying? You're going to try to find a way, and I think they found that way. A lot of people aren't happy with it.
It seems like the AD kind of took most of the blame because he was saying that he had the information and he didn't go to the compliance office. So it's almost like they made a deal. To your point, that
right. It was. I mean, they spun it to where, let's keep him, but let's find a penalty that everybody's happy with. But a lot of people aren't happy with it, but it is what it is.
All right. Well, I tend to agree with both of you. I mean, it's to your point, Mace the Fourth, it's a very touchy subject, right? I think it wasn't to the same. I think they were able to get away with this decision because it wasn't to the same level as a Penn State or a Baylor, or it wasn't.
Sure.
It wasn't
sure.
as. It doesn't seem like it was as systematic. The culture wasn't as toxic. It doesn't seem like. But I think you both made good point. I think you each made good points. Mace the Fourth saying that they have no leash now. What little leash they had before, if something happens and it's not handled exactly according to the book, they really have no leash now.
Right.
And then to Dad's point, the whole investigation seemed it's all. I mean, we're not insiders, right? So we don't really know what's going on. But it kind of seemed like they were trying to find a way to keep him, but also punish him at the same time.
Yeah,
exactly.
All right, so now let's get off that subject. One thing I wanted to talk about.
Some fun stuff.
Yeah, fun stuff. So this weekend, I don't know if you noticed, but I got my sailing shirt on with my sailboats. So this weekend, the gang is all going to Waco to do the tailgating, or should I say sailgating. So we were talking about this earlier last week, or this weekend, about how unprepared we are to do this. But so this weekend we're going. You're all going up to Waco. I'm going down to Waco, and we got a pontoon boat. I'm gonna have my Baylor flag, hopefully, and we're gonna watch a barn burner of Baylor versus Abilene Christian. But my thought was, now that how many venues in college football can you sailgate at? I think there's only 3.
Washington. Where else?
Yeah, Washington, because
Washington for
they're right
sure.
on the water.
Washington for sure. I'm pretty sure Tennessee you can
Tennessee,
too.
yeah, Tennessee, definitely.
And I know obviously Baylor now, but is there another one? Am I missing one?
Honestly, I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah.
So
it's a great idea, though.
So now, I mean, maybe it's a bucket list thing. Mace the Third will pay our trips all the way to do each sailgate now.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Oh, what was that?
He's sitting there he's probably trying to Google something. He pulls up a song that starts playing.
Was that Kendrick Lamar?
I don't know, but if our listeners, sorry if that was R-rated. God.
It was too.
Yeah, all I heard was like, beep,
Well,
beep, beep.
I was trying to.
I don't know what you were trying to do.
No, I'm gonna tell you what I'm trying to do. I was trying to pull up "Sailing, Take Me Away" song, and I pulled up some song that was not even close to that.
I don't even want to look at that music video.
Well, so what are y'all looking forward to most to Sailgate? Mace the 3rd, what are you looking forward to?
Well, I've got some concerns about it.
Concerns?
I don't know. Yeah, is that water okay to get in?
Yeah, we're jumping in.
That was gonna be my question: is are you gonna float in it? Are you gonna jump in?
Yeah, the quality of the water on the Brazos River. Is it okay? You know.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, it's just sometimes I look at it and it's like, woo, I don't know about that.
All you gotta do is drink a little bit, and it's gonna look crystal clear. You just jump in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what kind of boats are going to be out there because is it going to be all like pontoon boats or are they going to
no
ski
that
boats?
video you sent us today, there's some like wake surf boats or whatever you want to call them. There's different types of boats for sure. I want to see like double deckers though. That'd be cool to see like a double decker boat. But wait, never mind, that wouldn't work. Can't go under the bridge.
Yeah, there's a bridge there. I don't know. I guess you don't have to go.
Tall.
That's true.
You don't have to go under that second bridge. The Waco, that big bridge, the suspension bridge is big. Like, you can probably fit under there, but that bridge...
Yeah, but the one at the stadium.
The one thing I'm concerned about is I don't know where to park the thing.
I thought you got a slip.
No.
Yeah,
I don't have a slip.
But
dude,
you
sold this to me that we had a slip.
You said if we got there early.
Yeah.
You said if we got there early, there were some slips, right?
Yeah, we have to get there at 9 a.m.?
No, you don't have to. That's when I get the boat is at 9 a.m. Actually, I need to call that guy. Figure that out.
But anyway,
we don't even know if we had. He just said we got to call him.
Anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to the little drinking, little fun, maybe watching everybody.
Do they have a grill on the boat?
People watching, no grill on the boat.
How do you know?
There's no grill on the boat, is there?
That'd be cool, but I don't know. I don't know anything. I told you I'm very unprepared for this.
Oh,
but
it's a pontoon though.
But
right?
now I think we're all in agreement now that it's a bucket list that we have to go to all the sailgating venues, right? At some point.
It's paid for though, right?
Yeah, on Mace the 3rd's dime. That was agreed upon too.
Yeah, that's okay. I didn't know that, but yeah, I'm down.
So Knoxville and then Seattle. Those are the two we need to go to.
That we know of.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so getting ready for that, and we'll also have some. We'll take some videos and pictures, and maybe.
Wait, how are we eating?
Y'all are picking up food.
Yeah.
I wasn't notified of this. What kind of food are we getting?
Like barbecue, something easy.
Oh.
Yeah, we got it. We got it taken care of.
What about my hot dog? What about my hot dog with
mayonnaise?
mayonnaise?
He does like hot dogs with mayonnaise. I mean, we can get those for you. All right, so let's get into actual football now. Let's do upset alerts for this week. So, actually, before we do that, kind of a quick recap of actually week 0 of college football. Did you watch any of those games?
Did you?
I didn't watch it fully, but Hawaii and Colorado State. Boom.
Oh, I'm glad you brought up Hawaii. Did you see their helmets?
Dude, yeah, the islands.
Their helmets were cool.
States.
Yeah, their helmet was like a green helmet with the Hawaii islands on it. It was cool.
That was actually a legitimate helmet. I liked it.
They did.
But that was a good game for them. I mean, they weren't projected to win, and they came out, and then on top of that, Hawaii won the Little League World Series.
Yeah, Hawaii. That's true. Hawaii had a good weekend.
Shutout. That kid was dominant. The kids were swinging at the ball when it was in the glove against that pitcher. It was even no chance. No chance.
I hate the Little League World Series though. So
why?
It's a worthless thing on TV that no one watches.
Okay, you just upset thousands and thousands of viewers. That's absurd to me. Have you seen some of those plays they made?
I mean, no, because I don't watch it. I just told you I don't watch it.
God. You need to watch it. I can't even speak right now.
Did you see Rice won on a last-second field goal?
No, I didn't watch that game.
Against the
Prairie View A&M.
Prairie View A&M, yeah.
Yeah.
And Wyoming, Dad, you love Wyoming, don't you? The Cowboys?
Like
No, you know what he loves about Wyoming?
Texas beat them 8 years ago.
No. Every play he talks about all the time. Justin Tucker thinking he can run from like their own 10 on a punt.
Hey, Justin Tucker thought he had it. He had it.
That's what he told Mac Brown. He's like, I thought I had it. And Mac Brown said, no, you didn't.
But Wyoming looked pretty good. I know they were playing New Mexico State, but they handled them.
Yeah, but Wyoming's always kind of sneaky to where they're not a bad football team. And plus they have really cool logo.
All right, upsets. Week 1. Got any for me? Let's start with Mace the Third.
Y'all know what my one upset is, right?
Yeah, because you just don't like it.
Episode 2, can y'all tell me what that is?
Yeah, it was
Florida Atlantic beating OU.
Right.
Just because they're OU.
No.
But I think you need to be clear here, though, because you're not saying you don't think they're going to beat them, though. You weren't saying that last week. You were saying they were going to cover.
He said he's going to cover the spread.
It's a cover, but it's also an upset alert.
Yeah,
upset
he was
alert
saying that
doesn't mean you have to beat them. It means you're on upset alert.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know you on upset alert. Okay. And then the other one I'm putting on upset alert is Boise State, the Troy Trojans.
Oh.
Okay. What? Okay. So Troy. Did they beat LSU last year? Was that last year they did that?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
And they won. They were I think they're co-champions of the Sun Belt last year, and they've got a good team returning. And I'm telling you, it's at Troy.
Maybe, but Boise State is usually pretty good at winning those games. They usually win games they're supposed to win. They rarely have it slip up, especially early in the season. But yeah, I mean, that's an interesting one. All right, and Mace the Fourth, what's yours?
Well, I know we were talking about Hawaii and Colorado State. I'm actually going Colorado State over Colorado. It's a 7.5 spread on it by Colorado. I just see the Colorado State coming back this week. You know, after losing that game to Hawaii, you know, they didn't turn it around, get away. Because they're actually supposed to have a pretty good, decent year from what I've been told on Colorado State. And they're always usually a pretty good program. But I don't see Colorado being, I don't know. I just see them kind of on a downfall right now. So I'm picking Colorado State over Colorado. The spread's 7.5 right now.
That's a rivalry game. They play each other every year.
Yeah,
they don't like each other.
It's actually, I think it's a fun game to watch. I mean, but like I said, the Colorado State.
I think that's a really good pick. I mean, that game's a rivalry game. You never know in that game. So I agree. I think that's I mean, I don't know if I would consider that an upset. I guess it would technically.
You called it. We talked about this beforehand.
Mine's an upset alert.
You just called it. He said, I don't know if that'd be an upset.
Yeah.
Technically it is, right? If you go based on the spread, it would be an upset.
If it's over 7, then yeah, you're all right.
Now, if that's the rule, then the one I picked is not an upset. So I should.
It's got to be 7 or more.
Well, I don't think so. Yeah. You could also go on how they're ranked. I don't know. No.
That's an interesting topic. Like, what constitutes an upset? Is it just the spread? Is it the ranking? And it's really hard to determine what an upset is early on in the season because you really don't know how good everybody is.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
So I'll just say mine anyway, whatever. I'm picking Tulane, and I'm actually – it's not just upset alert, but Tulane over Wake Forest.
God, no, that's my sleeper.
I know. It's your sleeper in the ACC.
I knew he was going to pick that over my sleeper. God.
They're only favored.
No, I don't see that happening. No way.
Wake Forest is only favored by less. They're favored by less than a touchdown. When I saw that, I was like, Mace picked him as his sleeper in the ACC, and they're
I'm not telling you.
And they're barely favored against Tulane.
You watch.
I'm going to watch. It's a Thursday night game, 7 p.m. on CBS.
I will be watching.
And then there was another one I was interested in just to check out. It's one of those games I'm going to watch the first quarter and see if they're hanging in there. But Utah State and Michigan State by 23.5 points. That's a lot of points against Utah State. And Michigan State isn't a team that's going to throw 40 or 45 points on you. They're just not how they operate. So I think that's a huge spread. And Utah State, they're actually they had a decent program over the last few years. So that's a game to watch.
Yeah.
And it's a Friday night game. Those are weird. So, also, Dad, I almost picked your alma mater.
To be upset at?
No.
Texas State.
Oh.
Texas State. They're playing Rutgers at Rutgers.
Hey, yeah.
They're putting Rutgers has not been good in a while, and they're favored by 16.5 points at against Texas State at home. So
who was it that I was telling you Nebraska was playing?
Akron.
Oh, that was a really
that's an upset. That's an upset alert.
He actually picked that one too.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
That is not a good pick. I think Nebraska will beat that.
It's not a good pick. That's worse than you. What I got. He said at least I said the spread was there.
Well, I think they're.
But that reminded me of Big Ten was Northern Illinois at Iowa. I think Northern Illinois could beat Iowa. They're only favored by 10.5.
This isn't like an upset, but I really want to watch that Notre Dame Michigan game. I think that where is that? Is it at Ann Arbor or is it at?
I think that's another.
Yeah, but where are they playing?
Stop asking me where teams are playing because I'm going to get it wrong.
That's another. It's not at either place's home. It's
it's a neutral.
I want to say it is.
Well, ask Miles. He might know.
I'll tell you that Notre Dame is favored by 1 point, so it's basically a toss-up.
That's going to be a great game to watch. I mean, obviously, but anyways, but
it looks like it's at I'm not going to say, but it looks like it's at Notre Dame.
No, say it because I want viewers to come back and correct you.
No. I'm looking it up. I'm Googling it right now. Are there any other games that?
I mean, for us probably, or for the third over here, I know he's pumped about Texas and Maryland, but you said you're still a little nervous.
I am nervous.
But I also think if they don't win this game, that's bad. For what Maryland's going through right now,
they
don't have a coach.
You're right. It's
That's bad.
It's already a must-win.
Yeah,
we're already there.
That's got to be a win, don't you think, Miles? I mean, they go in if Maryland not having a coach. I mean, obviously they have a coach, but the interim coach, whatever you want to call it. But come on, this has got to be a must-win.
It's a must-win. You set the tone. You're going to set the tone right here.
But it's supposed to be raining too. It's supposed to be raining there on that day, so I'm seeing a lot more. To me, it's going to be a lot of running. But who knows?
So that one's in Maryland.
It's in Maryland, and it's supposed to be, not rough weather, but raining. And
I think the Texas fans would be very, very disappointed if they were to lose that game, and I think they might be disappointed if they don't win that game by a lot. So
I agree.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
So Herman will quickly learn how fast they can turn on you in Austin if you don't win that game.
Look what happened to the coaches in the past. They gave Charlie Shaw 3 years. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I'm excited. The first big weekend's coming up. We're going to be on a boat watching most of these games. Hopefully we'll have a TV.
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah, we're getting a TV.
The Texas game's at 11,
it's
right?
11.
So how are we going to – but it's on ABC or something?
Yeah, but –
No, it's not on ABC. It's on Fox Sports 1, I believe.
Oh, okay. So we might have trouble there.
No, we all have technology. We can find it.
We'll figure it out.
Get it on the phone.
All right, so the next couple topics. This one, I actually got into a bar argument about this next topic.
You got into an argument?
I don't get in a lot of arguments, but when I do, I win them. But we were talking about the future of football. So, and this kind of goes into our NFL kind of topic, our last topic for the day. But the whole CTE concussion discussion around football, and like, do you think, and Mace the third, I'll start with you. Do you think football will look the same or similar in 15 years? Or is like the new safety regulations and all the information about how bad the concussions really are and we didn't really know about until the last 5 years, do you think it's really going to alter the game to where it's going to be so different. It's going to be more like touch football rather than tackle football.
I think it will. I think it is. It's heading that way. I don't know if it's going to keep heading that way, but the rule changes, everything, even in the NFL, you're seeing it. So, yeah, my answer to that is yes, I think it will. And I think you even have kids now that are deciding not to play football because their parents are telling them, Johnny, I really do not want you to play football because of the concussion situation. And so
well, let me ask you this. Say, Miles and I ever have kids or whatnot, what would you tell your son or daughter about football? And are you going to tell them you don't want them to play, or are you going to tell them there's warning signs of when you're playing this?
Or what are you going to tell your kids?
Well,
my kids are already.
Yeah, we already played. We're screwed.
We might already have this.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, you're right. If, with mine, I think I'd let him play, but I'd tell him there's when you play this sport, there's definitely going to be things that can happen. That there's you're taking it on your body. I mean, look at all the football players that come out of the NFL or even college. What is the lifespan of an NFL player? What, 2 years?
3.5.
Maybe 3 years.
That's the average.
So I'm not the one to say you can't play it, but I will be the one to bring up, there's just the things that can happen.
But there's a lot of sports where
you can get
concussion.
You can play in baseball now. Totally different. You can slide into second base and a knee can hit you in the head and you get a concussion.
Yeah.
But
to answer your question on that.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was saying, to answer your question, I think it's going to change too. The way the rules are already set right now, and we were watching a clip the other day that Minnesota Vikings guy tackling the Jaguars quarterback.
Exactly.
He tackled him. The quarterback still had the ball, perfectly formed tackle. Somehow it was roughing the passer.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so
that's what's going to really change.
What are we calling here now? Like, you can't touch the quarterback, or you can't, I don't know. It's definitely going to change though to me. And I think Dad or the third's right over here. A lot of kids aren't signing up for youth football anymore.
Well, I think it's the parents not letting them sign up, right?
Sure, yeah. I should say it that way. The parents aren't signing up.
That's a problem, right, for the future of football. The best athletes.
Yeah.
Baseball had this problem. They still have this problem. The best athletes aren't playing baseball. They haven't been playing baseball for a long time. They play basketball or they play football. Football will have that issue too. If the youth movement stops going away from football, then you don't have the best athletes, and the product on the field suffers. It takes a while. It takes about a generation, right? But it does happen.
I like to disagree, saying the best athletes.
I knew that was coming.
I am totally against that. You try to tell me to put LeBron James in a batter's box and try to throw 95 and try to hit a baseball. No chance.
He's just saying the ones that
LeBron. You could teach LeBron James to hit, and he would crush.
No,
100%.
No, totally wrong. I could teach Derek Jeter to shoot a basketball before LeBron James.
Can you teach him how to dunk?
I can't teach him, but he could shoot a basketball and dribble.
It's clear. I think it's pretty clear that the best athletes aren't in baseball.
Oh God. Okay. Well,
they might be skilled. They might be the most skilled. You could argue that, but like pure athletic ability,
you're thinking about like the pitchers. What's it? David Wells. Don't look at David Wells.
Or like Yadier Molina, who's like one of the best catchers ever, but can barely get out of the batter's box.
He can what?
But he can barely get out of the batter's box.
Well, okay, skilled. I like how you worded with skilled.
I do think it'll change. I think it'll change over what you said, 15, 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the problem is too is you mentioned the other sports. You could say, well, you can get concussions in soccer or baseball, but the issue with football is you're getting mini concussions every day in practice. Like when I was playing the line,
right.
It wasn't the big hits and what they're saying is the big hits aren't really the problem. Yeah, they look like they're the worst, but it's really the small repetitive hits every day.
Well, what happened to Josh Allen this last game? He got tackled. It wasn't the tackles when he went down. I guess it was the tackle that affected it, but he went down, hit his head on the ground, and boom, there you go, concussion. I don't think he went through concussion, but
the only thing I can see saving it is some sort of advancement where it comes to brain tissue regeneration or something like that, which is not out of the realm of possibilities.
Sure,
but it's
the way we're moving.
If the NFL was smart, they would put a bunch of their profits into that research. If they were smart, that's what they would do. Yeah. Because that's a long-term approach. If they can prove that they have this ability or some scientist has this ability, I think it will go a long way to help the sport and save the sport down the road.
Right. I completely agree.
All right. So we've still got quite a bit of time, but we've got a couple segments left. So kind of getting away from non-football or non-on-the-field stuff. We do want to get into the NFL on this show, and we really haven't talked about it at all thus far into 3 episodes. So I wanted to get your initial thoughts on the NFL season, and I'll start with Mace the Fourth. What are you thinking? What are some of the things you're excited about? What are you expecting to see this year in the pro football realm?
Well, I'm excited to see my Dolphins win the Super Bowl, so that's number one.
Wow. You heard it here first. Mace the Fourth says the Dolphins are going to win the Super Bowl.
Always.
When have the Dolphins been good? When's the last time the Dolphins were good?
I mean, we don't have to bring up the past. I mean, come on now. Come on. But to answer, I am excited about one team, and it's one player, is Houston, Texas. I'm excited to see Deshaun Watson play again. I really am. I think what he did last year, and that short of time he was playing before he had the injury, I think he's coming. If he stays healthy.
Were you looking at my notes?
No, I was not. But I'm excited to see Deshaun Watson. I'm excited to see J.J. Watt back on the field. Just that team in general, because I think they're an electric team, both on defense and offense. I don't know when the running back from Texas, Deontay Foreman. I know he had a big injury, but he's
going to be
coming
out
back.
Another 6 weeks.
Yeah,
I think.
So that's a team I'm really excited to watch and get back. There's a lot of changes in the NFL too. One thing, a lot of people know the connection between Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson. Jordy Nelson's now with the Raiders. I'd like to see what Jordy Nelson does with the Raiders and Derek Carr. And I want to see Chucky. I want to see Chucky throw some faces out there. Because they still haven't signed Khalil Mack, or not signed, excuse me. They haven't got the contract. They're looking to trade him. Maybe that trade's not out of they have possibilities. But yeah, those are the 3 things. I'm kind of course, again, Dolphins winning the Super Bowl, Deshaun Watson, Houston Texans, and kind of looking forward to the Raiders. I think it's good for football to have the Raiders play well.
Oh, yeah. Raiders, they're teams that need to be good in the NFL. Raiders.
Browns.
I don't know.
Browns.
No.
Raiders, the Browns don't need to be good. No, they don't.
No.
They have the dog pound there.
The Browns do not need to be good for the NFL.
The Cowboys need to be good. The Steelers need to be good.
Well, those are the teams I'll talk about.
I know, but they need to always be, up there.
Yeah, but I guess I shouldn't say it to be good. I'm just saying to see maybe Baker Mayfield if he can.
I'm also excited about the Texans and Deshaun Watson to see how he comes back, and I think Texans are going to be legit. I think they might be.
Yeah, for sure.
They might be good again. I'm also excited after you showed me that YouTube video of Chris Warren III, the Texas running back, that didn't really pan out too good at Texas, but you knew he had some talent. He just mowed over that one guy in practice. I don't know if you've seen it, but you can YouTube it.
Who's he with?
He's with the Raiders.
Oh, man. Y'all are all heavy Raiders today.
Yeah, well, he's with the Raiders, and you're telling me he might even be, he might get some playing time, right?
Yeah, I don't see him not getting playing time. I know Marshawn Lynch is going to be the starter.
Yeah, but he's a goal line back.
For sure, yeah.
According to what. Yeah. So, I'm excited to see him, and I'm also excited about the New York Giants. I think
that's a good one.
I think they might come back and surprise some people this year.
Okay, you guys are driving me a little nuts right now because y'all got that huge Jason Witten jersey behind you. You said zero. No. You said zero about the Cowboys when you're excited about. Zero. Absolutely nothing.
Oh, I mean, we know what the Cowboys are going to bring.
Yeah, they're going to win the NFC East this year.
Maybe, but we know it all depends on Elliott.
Who's back and looks amazing, who's getting rave reviews in the preseason. The only issue with my thing I'm excited about is obviously the Cowboys, but the one problem with the Cowboys is their receiver core. They don't really have. They lost Dez.
They don't have anybody. They got Tavon Austin.
Yeah, I mean they don't really. I shouldn't say they don't have anybody. They don't have anybody that's proven to be that number one receiver at this point. Yeah. I mean, Dez was so awful last year that they had to get rid of him. They couldn't afford him anymore. They couldn't afford to pay him that much. But he hasn't even found a home yet, Dez. He's not signed with anybody.
Well, he's also turned down a deal from the Ravens. He's, supposedly there's reports of him turning down a, veteran contract from the Browns. So that's on him.
But I think it goes to show you the Cowboys are right in cutting him.
Sure,
because
yeah.
He definitely wasn't. Worth the amount of money.
He can be a locker room distraction too from, of course, you see on the sideline. But
So, yeah, I'm excited about the Cowboys. I'm excited about the season getting rolling. I'm excited about fantasy football. That's really where I spend most of my time in the NFL is just fantasy football, trying to figure out who I'm going to start and who I'm going to play. But I am... looking forward to see. One thing I'm interested in is we kind of have a connection to Nick Foles. I'm wondering how that's going to all play out this year. With he was a Super Bowl MVP, but he probably won't even end up being the starter for the season.
Yeah, I tell people who always say like, "Oh, he's not as what." I'm like, "Hey, man, if you can ever win a Super Bowl MVP and win it, obviously he's a great quarterback. He's had his struggles in the preseason." But to me, it's preseason. I mean, he's proven himself.
Oh yeah.
I mean, come on. I don't.
What do you think the Philly fans think? I bet they're in a conundrum because Carson Wentz played really well last year, but Philly fans are weird. They're very superstitious, I think, and so they're like, well, they probably love Nick.
They do love Nick, but I think they want. I don't know. I'm just throwing this out there. I'm pretty sure they want Carson Wentz starting quarterback, but having a Super Bowl MVP quarterback as a backup, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So here's a question. So the season obviously hasn't started yet for the NFL. Have y'all watched any preseason games?
I have not.
I've watched just a little bit. I have not. People pay. They make people pay to watch those games. Why would you pay money to go watch a preseason game?
Because it's cheaper than going to a regular season game, maybe?
I don't know how much cheaper, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I've watched a little bit of the Cowboys preseason, but the preseason is so worthless. It's kind of like the pro.
If you're a Rams fan, Todd Gurley hasn't played all year, so why would I even go watch the team play when that's the star person?
I think they need to shorten the preseason. They need to shorten it to like 2 games, maybe.
Yeah.
Why do they need 4 games? It seems ridiculous.
Well, I know they got it. I don't. Maybe on cuts. I don't know. Maybe
they can shorten their cuts. They could have longer. They could have more weeks of practice and shorter in only 2 games. Or extend the season. I know they talked about that. The players don't want to do that, but extend the season so that you have instead of 16 games, you have 18 games. So you have 18 regular season games instead of 16.
I know the biggest thing players are arguing about, or not arguing, just upset about. They don't like the Thursday night games at all.
That's another topic we can talk about. There's too much football on all the time. It's saturated. Every night is football.
But that's the NFL.
Never too much football. Never too much football.
Are you pouring your drink into the mic?
Yeah, what are you doing? You're crushing our mic here.
Sorry,
this expensive mic.
Well, this bitch in Camaro's. I guess.
All right, so we're running up on time here. We fought through our technical difficulties on this show.
Hey,
so,
that means we're getting better when you have technical difficulties.
I guess we can fight through them.
It's improving.
So,
yeah.
The one thing that needs to happen now is on me this week. So my one thing, I'm going to stick with football. We've all done football so far, so I'm going to stick with football. But the one thing that needs to happen right now for me is we need to limit the amount of freaking replay during a game. Like, I don't need to know if someone stepped out of the 45 or the 46 yard and a half. I don't care. I don't care. Did he get the first down or did he not? I don't need to go back to the replay to figure out where exactly the ball was. I understand that they want to get it right, but it also slows the game down when I have to go to a college football game and sit there for 5 hours and watch the game because I got commercials and now I've got to sit through freaking replays all the time. It's getting stopped. There's way too much stoppage now. The pendulum has swung way too far for replay. They've got to stop doing replays on little stuff.
It's coming more and more replay. I said hidden baseball now. It's crazy. And it's hidden soccer. Did you notice some of the soccer games where they'd stop the play? Yeah. The soccer doesn't stop.
Look,
it does now.
Yeah, it's just like in baseball how they want to speed up the game. Well, speeding up the game is not putting more replay in there. But to go into football, because football is pretty fast. I wouldn't say incredibly fast game, but it's a quicker game, right? So adding more replay now is like, well, now I have to sit there longer, wait for this to be done. So I get what you're saying.
I think some replays okay. I think if there's a touchdown call, for sure, get that right. Why do I care if they stepped out at the 5 or 6 yard line versus the 10 or 11 yard line, or you know what I mean? Unless it's like via first down or big play, you know, you got to pick your spot. They've got to figure out a way to limit it to where it actually matters. You know, it kind of goes back to the NFL. I think they don't. They might review every scoring play now. That's right. They review every scoring play, but they don't review every play. In college, they review every single play, and they can stop every single play and say, hey, take a look at this. We need to go back and look at this. It's just way too much. Like, way too much.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that you brought that up. Definitely on the bigger plays, for sure. The first downs, I agree with you. I mean, come on. That's why you had the sideline or official there to determine that. I mean, it's just like I keep going back to baseball on this, but you know, all these hitters are turning around and telling the umpire, "Oh, we need a computer strike zone." No, that's just. I mean, that's why we have umpires. That's why we have officials. That's why I like the game, because it's in another person's hands.
Yeah.
And granted, I get what you're saying about the touchdown.
You like it until it's your team that's affected by those hands.
No. Because it's both ways.
I don't want to say I don't like replay. I like replay, right? I just don't like it every single
right, and that's what I'm saying. Like the touchdown plays, yeah, absolutely. I think we need to make sure, you know, because if the guy goes in the end zone, did he have both toes down or whatever, feet down? So yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Really good point.
I know, it's a great point. Thank you.
I knew that. I shouldn't say that stuff.
All right, well, that was it for today. So just remember, if you're watching this, to hit the subscribe button on YouTube. We'll post the audio to SoundCloud. Go to our Facebook. Oh, wait. We don't have a Facebook page yet. We're supposed to have a Facebook page at some point.
Who's supposed to do that?
I thought Mace the 4th was supposed to put it together, but maybe that it's a pretty easy.
I'll do this. If we need people, well, we can't comment. Dang it, we need a Facebook page for people to comment and ask questions. I'll get that done.
Yeah.
I'll get that done.
All right. So, thanks again. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. But we gone.
We gone.